everybody. I'm Philip.
And I'm Justin.
And together, we are Pajamas. And we are going on to episode 5 of season 2 of Doctor Who. We just left 18th century France. And yeah, so who knows what this is going to be about? Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's get into it.
And a body that will never age or die.
Nitpick. If he's the main villain of this episode, he should have groomed himself before being on international television. It's distracting.
Well, I must admit that, yes, it did distract me.
So, just saying.
Well, how long's it been since I could have stopped?
10 minutes? 20? 29?
You just forgot me.
She's dead. TARDIS is dead.
Your city.
That's the one.
And that includes the Zeppelins?
I don't know. Traffic lights are blue. Tony Blair never got elected.
And he's still alive.
Mm.
Parallel world and my dad's still alive.
Hey, mate.
Oh, the bad penny. Was this your idea? Don't...
What's wrong with that?
40. It says 40.
You are 40. Why would you want to pick up signals from Venezuela?
Well, I don't know, but now I can find out. Where is she? Rose! Rose, come to Mummy. Come on. There you are, my darling.
If the President of Great Britain can make this meeting, then so can you.
I don't know, he's not married to Jackie, is he?
The torture in which you published a study claiming
All those people disappearing off the streets. It's been going on for months.
Experiments. I just gave away 10 years of my life. Worth every second.
Yeah, I got things to see and all.
Like what?
Well, you don't know anything about me, do you? It's always about Rose. I'm just a spare part.
Wandered off. He's walked up by his grand. She was such a great woman. God, she used to slap him.
We need to get out of here as fast as we can.
Ow!
Stupid boy.
Ow! What have you
Ow, stop hitting me.
It's been days and days.
And a cup of tea. You got time?
For you, I've got all the time in the world.
Be bonded onto a metal exoskeleton. This is the ultimate upgrade. Without this project, you have condemned me.
You're a fine businessman, John, but you're not God.
Psychic paper.
Who do you want to be?
End up serving. To nibble this back home.
If you want to know what's going on, work in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Rose! It's my little girl. Come to Mummy, come to Mummy.
But target number 1 is Lumic, and we are going to bring him down. From your kitchen.
I moved out last month, but we're going to keep it quiet. You know, it's bad for business. Why am I telling you all this?
Right?
Stevie, how's things? How's it going at Torchwood?
Miss Tyler, is there anything I can get you?
The last 20 years back.
It's worth a second chance.
Are you commenting on my marriage? You're nothing but stuff. You're just the serving girl, for God's sake. And you are certainly not getting paid.
What do you mean?
I've seen them before. That's a living brain jammed inside a cybernetic body. All emotions removed.
Why no emotion?
Because it hurts.
Man will be reborn as Cyberman, but you will perish under maximum deletion.
I think the solution to this is go to your room. And then they'll just turn around and lay back down.
That actually was an interesting scene when that happened.
All right, so thoughts on this one?
It brings to mind cognitive dissonance. Even earlier, it brought up the subject of playing God, but everyone already does. Think about it. Medicine, instead of letting an illness take its course, or agriculture to make plants grow instead of letting the weather do it by itself. Where is the limit, and why should there be a limit if there is a limit?
I don't know how I feel about this one.
Well, they did look extremely obviously mechanical. It would have been probably a bit more... People would probably be a little more motivated for this upgrade if they actually looked at least a little more human, with the prospect that it seems to be as if they take something's consciousness and implant it into a computer, which seems to actually be, it's at least one thought experiment of how immortality could be possible.
Right, yeah.
At least theoretically. To somehow transplant consciousness. And, well, the closest physical thing to consciousness is the brain. Somehow, somewhere in there, there's this thing called consciousness. If it could somehow be taken from there and put into a computer, then it could then work like it already does via the nervous system. With computer technology, it makes it even more possible, at least hypothetically, since, well, if you have A and A is inside of B, if you can simply take B and put it somewhere else, you're also taking A with it. Although I will admit that, especially with all of them looking exactly alike and not being able to customize your own robotic body, it doesn't seem very appealing. Even with the prospect of immortality, it does seem rather limiting.
Well, it's also limiting because you're just a hunk of matter without anything that made you you. Because you've been stripped of everything that made you you, from appearance to emotions to feelings to...
It would have helped if they could have personality, since personality is part of oneself, and to lose that actually isn't really an upgrade, it's more of a downgrade.
Yeah, exactly. Like immortality at the cost of... Like, it's not really immortality then. It is, but it's not. The tissue is living, but then that's just all it is. It's just...
But then where is the you?
Exactly. So how is it immortality then? Aside from the organism itself.
That's a very good question. Inside the brain, one needs to include not only the consciousness, the thing that makes it alive as opposed to being dead, but also the memories and the personality, etc.
It feels like there's an eyelash in my eye. But yeah.
But if such a thing were possible, that you could have all of what you have now and simply be transplanted into this clone, it would be a very interesting experience.
Well, yeah. I mean, is the clone going to be... Are we talking about those clones, or are we talking about a different, like a clone of me?
Well,
I don't want to do that.
Well, with that thing, yes, it seems like all that he's really doing is simply making a robotic army while disguising it as being an upgrade of humanity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, a very, very bad disguise of it, though, if they don't even have mouths that move or eyes that blink, let alone have their own voices. They seem to all even have the same voices.
The only thing human about them is the tissue that's inside, that hunk of tissue that's inside, and that's it.
Oh, how interesting. Cassandra was more human than those things are.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And she was basically a talking piece of leather.
Yep. So we have a two-parter. Not the plot I would have picked so far this season to be a two-parter, personally. Not really feeling it. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. It's just...
I can also sort of see an analogy between these and the Daleks. That they are basically a living thing, but have been stripped of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they only have like one emotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas these have absolutely none.
Yeah, exactly.
But still being a machine and having so much stripped away except for a bare minimum of something, I do see the analogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except that these particular things aren't cute, whereas the Daleks actually look cute. Oh, and have a much cuter voice.
I wrote in my notes, one good thing about Doctor Who is even if you die, you're not dead. So, the dad is back again. Not complaining, but I don't know. Something about this episode just isn't resonating with me. Like, I'm not like, oh god, we have to watch part 2 now. I'm not dreading it like I was last season with Slovene. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It's just not engaging for me. It's not. I think the bad guy is unpleasant to listen to. He's unpleasant to look at. He's unpleasant in every way possible.
Well, I suppose that he isn't exactly the suave and sophisticated evil villain that we would be much more interested in.
I would rather have had villain guy from like the Bat People one with Sarah Jane. I would rather have had that guy be the villain. I don't know. Just about this bad guy just doesn't do it for me.
He's too obvious, or a sort of cookie cutter version of a villain.
It might be. I mean, even like the guy from School Reunion was your typical cookie cutter, like smarmy, sophisticated villain. But I didn't mind it. I don't mind. I don't mind the villain. I just mind the casting. I don't like the person playing him. I don't know why. He's just kind of off-putting, and not in a good way. Not in like, ooh, you're so good at your character. Like I think they could have found somebody better, in my opinion. And then I think
someone who knows what a nose trimmer is would have been a much better pick, I suppose. Well,
it goes beyond that though. Just something about him just isn't working for me, and I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Like I don't know why this one just isn't doing it for me. Like I don't have any overt complaints. Like we were talking about the cognitive dissonance and the idea of immortality. Like again, it's tackling really interesting ideas.
And it appears to be something that, even though they're in a parallel universe, it's something that is inevitable to happen, that eventually technology will continue to progress further and further. So, and of course, whether or not something is legal or illegal or ethical or unethical, there's going to be some sort of rogue scientist or inventor, a mad scientist that's going to do things like that anyway. One does need to consider the possibility of not an if, but a when something like that would happen.
Yeah, that's true.
It's as if it's inevitable. Like, for example, calculus. With the progress of mathematics, it was founded twice, actually. Once by Leibniz in what is now Germany, and Newton in England. So, and they were separated in two different places and created the same field that we now know as calculus, which does show that sense of inevitability that there's going to be progress. Something is leading towards something.
Right, yeah. I guess just when the beginning happened and the TARDIS got knocked out of the vortex and crashed, I was like, ooh, this could be okay. What's powerful enough? Not Mr. Nose Hairs, and it just...
How interesting, though, that he calls the TARDIS a living thing because it is a living machine. Are these things also not living machines?
Yeah.
And once again, the issue, so he gets to have exceptions to these rules, whereas every other being in existence doesn't get to, simply because they are not a Time Lord?
Yeah, it's really tricky. Like, again, it brings back that ethical, like, we don't know exactly what the TARDIS is. We just know it's a consciousness. It's a living thing, but we don't know what it is. Was it constructed around this consciousness? Was the consciousness was its sole purpose to be a TARDIS, to be a time machine? Was it against its will? Was it enslaved like these Cybermen are?
Yes, or was it a volunteer that did it of its own free will? I am not aware of the background of this TARDIS. That, at least to my awareness, that's something that Doctor Who seems to keep to himself, unless if it's convenient for the episode.
Well, it's world building. Like anything you ever watch doesn't give all the secrets to everything right away. I don't see a fault with that at all.
Oh, neither do I. It's only that, well, I cannot know until I see a few more episodes, because, well,
I find more hypocrisy in the Doctor being mad at the vampire bat guy than I do on this. Like this, I get what you're saying, and there is some kind of similarity. There's a little overlap, but I think it's different. Like one feels like, I mean, we just don't know about the Time Lords. We don't know because we're new. We don't know anything about them other than what we're being fed. So it's just we get it over time and we find out over time. So, or maybe it was explained in previous seasons that we just didn't watch because we didn't watch any of the old ones. Who knows? Don't spoil it, please.
Since it seems, at least from this particular Doctor, it seems that these Time Lords aren't exactly 100% perfect. They do make mistakes, which then means that there cannot be an excuse that they're perfect, they're incapable of making any mistakes. That would make them the best suited for this kind of ability. But since these other things are not, then it's not. Well, it seems that this actually isn't the situation. So that then reopens the question, why they get to do all these things, but everything else, every other thing is forbidden because the Time Lord said so.
Yeah.
And well, who are they? The Time Lords.
Yeah. I mean, he's been referred to as a god before, so...
It seems that they're the closest thing to a god in this universe.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's like... It's like saying, why is God, whatever you think a god is, get to have all the power? Why isn't there someone else that gets to have all the power too? Because is the answer right now. So that's best we can do. So yes, Mr. Lumic can never appear again after the next episode, and I will be happy, and we can stop with the close-ups. When Mickey and Rose were splitting off, and he was like, you're always going to choose her, aren't you? You're never going to choose me. Normally, I would agree with him, but I think in this instance, Rose is more of the detriment to society because she just can't help herself. I'm not going to go on a Rose rant, but...
She's more unpredictable, it seems.
We had a president of England, so that was kind of interesting. Not a prime minister, but a president. We got the Doctor in a tux.
And he looked very dapper in it.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And at the end, they were just killing people. But, like, what if the people there wanted to upgrade?
It's the reason why I assumed, actually, why they were there in the first place. To then have, well, basically, in a way, have a yes or no to the upgrade.
There was no choice. What's compulsory?
Yes.
Then just make them upgrade. Do the do thing, and it's like, no. Exterminate. Exterminate, 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 exterminate. It was just like, what? I get it was a show of power by Lumic. I get that it was a show of, like, this is the power I wield now with my metal human brain men.
But if there are people in a high position, that means that they're rich and famous, which means that they're people that other people look up to.
Mm-hmm.
So if, like, practically everything else, especially in pop culture, if they do it, that will then encourage other people to do it as well. So in actuality, it would have been to his benefit if at least some of them would have volunteered enthusiastically.
Yep.
Instead of assuming that they would all say no and, well, exterminate them anyway.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens in part 2. Maybe we'll... I don't know. We'll see when the Doctor tells them to go to their room. And... I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I guess overall, wasn't feeling this one too much, and I'm not really looking forward to the next one, but we'll see what happens. Anything else you'd like to add?
we see that actually there is a Rose in this world. And what a portrayal of her it is.
Yeah. Her face was great, too. Like, the doctor laughed at her.
And I see what the implication was supposed to be that, well, she's a...
I guess. Maybe, yeah.
Especially if I'll assume that from the name Rose that this is a female dog.
Yeah.
And so I'll assume that that's what the joke was supposed to be in this episode.
Maybe, yeah. Not gonna argue. Not gonna argue with that one. Not all the time. Just when she is. I go on rants. Anything else you'd like to add? Alrighty. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so I'll simply say thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one, part 2 to metal robot things. Until then.